Hey, hello everyone. Happy morning to everybody. Welcome to 1st of September. Yesterday was our National Day, Merdeka. That was yesterday lah. Right. Yeah, today we're going to talk about the September month forecast for the 10-day master. Right. So, and I've taken the theme of one of our Chinese folklore, right? So, which is Xin Lui Yao Wan, the Chinese ghost story. It's a very famous, classical, legendary Hong Kong movie, right? So about a traveling scholar, right? So traveling scholar trying to go and take his imperial exam, and then went through one of these forests, which is um, taken over by this tree demon, right? Lolo, the tree demon Lolo, right? So then the Lolo use all this um, very charming, alluring lady ghosts to usually get the guys near to her because she's a tree. I cannot move, supposedly, and then suck the yang qi out of it. So this basically 醒了要完了。While we are in the month of the ghost, right, so I'll just take in the theme. So because the demon is a tree, right, so today is a yeet wood, right? So today is a yeet wood, right? So then we can use that one, right? So just good morning first, Peppoy there. I see Jocelyn, I see Stuart came in, PJ Cock, Eclipse, Sabrina, Rack, Winnie Leong is around, Alien B, new name. How you doing? Hello, Jeannie. Hello, C Hat. How you guys all doing? Right, so you guys are prepared for the month of September very fast, right? Very fast. We are approaching the end of the year already. So now, as right now, you guys start to see that everybody is preparing for next year. So usually it's around these few months that the practitioners start to abandon the year. Right, all the 2026 content is starting to come out. They start talk about 2026. It's usually around these few months. Right, so if you like the what we call the 12th animal thingy, yeah, all is that, right? So now at the same time also, me and Catherine, we are organizing the 2026 FSA, right? So if you want to sign up later, please just go to the community page, right? Community page, you can sign up for the FSA 2026. Right, so come, let me just shrink myself down to the smaller version, so that I don't block the funny little ghost. Right, so like usual, right, you want to get in touch with me, Telegram is a good way for you to do so. You can PM me in Telegram, ask me anything if you like. There is also the newsletter. Like today's content is actually already published in the newsletter a few days ago. Right, so now I will publish all the forecasts first in the newsletter, right? So for some people, they like to read text, then you go and read that one. All right, so now that's where the what we call the a write up is around. So then you can go to the what we call community channel, which I forgot to change it to my Paushi, but never mind. Okay, right. So now go to community channel. The link to sign up for the FSA 2026 is basically there, right? So go ahead and do that. I said Gigi is from Montreal, and then I have Eclipse is from US. Don't know which side, but summer is over and turning into fall. Good. Right, so now this is your BaZi plot, right? If you have not printed your BaZi chart, so you can go to Typing Astro. So I'm working together with the programmer of Typing Astro right now to basically get this done. And if you join the FSA, I think it is including a package, whereby you get to use Typing Astro for free for a certain amount of time. Right, so come and join us. Right, so print your BaZi chart. Right, so what is important in this session is to identify your DayMaster. By the way, your DayMaster don't change. Your DayMaster will never change. You just need to plot this one time and you will remember your DayMaster. Then day after, every month you come back to take a look at it. You just have to pay attention to your DayMaster. So you take a look at it, this particular month, the governing DayMaster. Every month also got a governing DayMaster, which is the day or the hour that the day actually change into next month. Right? So this is the hour, right? So which is a GF. Right, so go and find out what is your DayMaster, right? So please, the GF is not the DayMaster, it's your own personal DayMaster. Right? So like me, I'm Rainwater. So you just have to remember Rainwater. Right? So then you go and look at yours, go and get this printed. By the way, this one you can get it printed for free. Right? So the free version is sufficient for most practice. The paid version, the only difference is that it got more explanation. As you float around there, the text, they give you a lot of explanation. Right, so and it give you very convenient all the relationship, all those convenient stuff it give to you. Right? So it cut down the times you need right? So to do this, right? So come, let's take a look at it, right? So we are in the month of September, right? So very fast, another 4 more to go, right? Another 4 more to go. That mark the end of the year of the snake, and we're gonna go into the year of the horse, right? So and today we are looking at the month of the rooster month, right? So if you look at the pillar, right? So it's basically wood on top, metal at the bottom. So this one, imagery wise, is basically a plant where the root is being cut. Very dangerous, right? Where the plant or the root is being cut. Whereas if you take a look at last month is the jiashen. Jiashen is like the tree trunk being cut. So the tree trunk being cut may not be successful in cutting the tree trunk, but when you talk about a plant where the root is being cut, that is very direct, having an impact, right? So basically, this particular month does encourage the entire idea of uprooting yourself. Is that good? Is that bad? Depend on your situation. Right? So again, if you are looking to do some breakthrough, uprooting yourself is good. Right? So if you are the stubborn fella, then uprooting yourself may not be that good. Right? So it depends on the circumstance. So we are looking at the impact of the pillar to your party chart, especially to your DayMaster. Right? So that gives you an indication of what are the activity that would be beneficial to you versus what are the activity that probably you want to avoid. That is what we're trying to find out. Right, so the auxiliary star, so every month there's an auxiliary star, right? So the annual, you know that the annual animal signs, that every single master will tell you, this is actually based on the auxiliary star, right? So we look at the auxiliary star to generally gauge how you want to use the word auspicious or inauspicious is fine, doesn't matter, right? So you can basically do that, right? So like for example, this particular month you got the general star, right? So the general star is a star of power and authority. So which means this particular month, there's going to be an expectation of power and authority for you, right? So then there is the three stages in is talking about the situation whereby your status is being elevated or your popularity is being elevated, right? So you can see that general star plus the popularity is being elevated and all of it. Wow, then that is good, right? In actual sense, it is a period whereby you are being put up on pedestal. Now, question. Are you somebody who can control authority? Are you somebody who can sit with fame? If you are not, it can be very suffering. But if you are, those type of fellow who are in a position that require authority, fame, then this is a what we call auspicious month. If you are in a position whereby it doesn't warrant authority or fame, then this could be a month whereby you would be going through immense pressure. So again, good or bad of the star is not determined by the star. It's determined by the circumstance and the actual usage of the star. Right, so it's a good month for you to for those of you who want to talk about promotion. Not this month promotion is to go to see your boss, and talk about hey, what's the plan for next year. Right? Don't talk about your previous experience. A lot of people really make this particular big mistake in their career is that they keep on telling about what they have contributed. No one care about what you have contributed. Sorry. Okay. It's always, what are you going to bring to the business in the future? If you concentrate all your conversation on future bearing things, right? So a lot of good things happen to you, right? So this one example I always tell people is that when you go to a new company, right? Why does the new company generally is willing to pay a higher salary than your old company? Have you ever thought of that? Right? The new company crazy one, man. The fellow have no track record of you. The new company got zero track record of you. And so why does the company? Because when you go for the interview, you always talk about the future. Because that's the only thing that you can talk about. You cannot talk about the past with the new employer because you got no past with the new employer. All right, not so you're always concentrating on talking on what you can bring to your business, what the thing that you can bring the business to the next level. The additional salary is to pay for that, right? You always pay for the future, you never pay for the past. So if you start to understand that, then you know that you can go and go for a salary talk, go for a position talk for next year. It's a good time, right? So try and do that. Okay, right? So now come, let's take a look. Right, so every month there's going to be pillar that interact a little bit more strongly with the month, right? So it's the Yi Yu month, right? So the combination month is the Geng Chen, right? So the Geng Yi is a combination, Chen Yu is a combination, right? So this particular combine is basically pulling in the energy, so you have a stronger reaction to demand. That's all. So then there is the pillar that rejects, right? So the yi will counter the ji, right? So and then the yu will counter the mao. So you got ji mao inside, then you have additional rejection. So rejection usually we call pressure, right? So these are just the two pillars. So again, please don't go and take a look at the clash is bad, combine is good. Not necessary, right? You might be combining something that you hate. Now, bad example, but usually we use this in the Chinese metaphysics world. It's combining is like your mother-in-law come to your house to stay. It's a combiner, right? But you hate your mother-in-law to the guts. So how is combined is good, right? So like clashes, it's like you are rejecting your mother-in-law. Your mother-in-law can't come in. That's good, ma. Right? So again, nothing wrong with my mother-in-law. So sorry, fellow mother-in-law. Okay, right, so that's basically it, right? So let's take a look at, since this particular month, the DayMaster is GF, then we start with GF, right? So don't always start with the DayMaster, right? So you can see that cute, all done using ChatGPT. I'm trying out different ChatGPT graphic prompt. This one I find is much more easier than the normal thing I do, which is go through internet to scour for the right photo. Right, so this is much more faster, right? So if you take a look at it, it's a 7K with eating god, right? So in terms of studying parts, eating god 7K is a good combination, right? So it's called 6神斋杀. It's actually one of the structure. So as we move in for our topic, we will discuss this sort of structure, right? So inside the parts chart, right? So this is called 6神斋杀. So the eating god controlling the 7 killing formation. So this is usually a formation for a big general, right? So this is a person who is willing to take the pressure and find solution, just like Batman is willing to take the pressure, right? So like Batman, scaling through the wall, right? So G-Earth is the small little wall, right? So you try to scale through the wall, right? So it's a month whereby you get a lot of solution. So this combination is good for you to start something big. Like for example, if G-Earth say that oh no, I want to start a business, good. I want to start a project, good. It's basically a good month for you to do this sort of activity. Because this particular month, your ability to generate solution is much more higher. New nano banana very good, right? Also they say I don't know, I haven't used that before. So haven't used the nano banana is Google one, right? Either way lah, Google or Facebook one. Right? So no, I'm gonna go and try. This one work for my level of requirements. So I stick to this for some time first. Let them fight it out. Right, so yes, this particular month, if you're looking for that particular breakthrough, it's a good month to do so, right? So if you are GF, right, so now if you are looking for breakthrough and you don't have a breakthrough and you are not GF, go find a GF friend, right? That's basically how you use parts. So that's why a lot of time I tell people, go and collect some, right? I'm Sin Mao DayMaster. I like the mother-in-law example. Right, clash is not so bad. All right, so it's basically what is for the GF, right? So it's a month of solution. It's a month of creativity. The 7 killing actually help with the execution portion, right? So because the 7 killing now, the 7 killing under normal circumstances is a brute. Brute mean that a fella that doesn't really use a lot of brain, but the fella happen to be big in size and not afraid of dying, right? So everything head on charge in first. That's basically called brute. Right, so in war you need this sort of brute, right? So in the Cantonese is somehow yongji, right? So the signia here, right? The signia here is basically the word brave, right? So now by the way, those with a signia of the word brave, they are usually untrained soldier. They are usually peasants that has just been recruited, that haven't been through normal training yet. So for the people to know, for the people or the people in military to know that they are normal citizens, right? So they give them the uniform with the word Yong on, right? Understand now, right? So the uniform, the wording at the center of the chest actually got meaning one. Maybe one day I'll share that as well, right? So I've been looking at this sort of a weird stuff, right? So just to understand Chinese a little bit. All right. So now this is basically what is happening, right? So for those of you who want to right? So try and start some new project, especially some project that you last time is a bit afraid to go and do one. So now when we talk about start a new project, whether it is exercise, don't care. Go and learn how to swim, don't really care too much, right? So start a business, yeah, no, making videos, I don't know, right? So whatever that scares you, right? You basically go and do that, right? So we go forward, we go the Geng metal, right? So Geng metal is direct wealth, rock wealth, right? So now direct wealth, rock wealth, normal circumstances is not a good combination. Right? So of course, direct wealth, rock wealth means that losing money lah. Straight away tell you is basically a situation, whereby money is being lost, right? So Geng Yi is a combination. So Geng Yi is a combination, right? So this combination is causing you to lose money. So if you are in a partnership situation or you are in a collaborative situation, then you need to be very careful with contractual matter. Contractual matter of how you are splitting the money, everything, you need to be very careful, right? So not too many people goes into a project or business or collaborative, it's like, oh, this is my friend, this is my buddy, no, oh, they will not cheat me, please. When money is on the table, right, everything is out the door. Human is usually like this. So the example, if you can see, is a cute fella using the sickle to cut the grass. So you just imagine, if you have a business of cutting grass, right? This is your business, cutting grass. You are very good at cutting grass. A lot of people employ you to cut grass, right? So money, right? So people employ you to cut grass is money, But then suddenly there is a competitor that come to town. So the competitor use much better technology. They use grass cutting, what we call lawn mower, right? So lawn mower, of course, can do things much more faster than you, lah. You probably say that, oh, the fella is not as detailed as you, but the fella get the job done and at the fraction of your price. So how? Right? You are using your normal method to, do the gardening one day. Maybe you can only do one lawn. The fella one day can do 5 lawn. How are you gonna fight with this particular fella? Right? So if in this particular situation, you need to know your, for lack of wording, is your positioning in your business. Right? So it is called pick the correct fight to fight. Right? So when everybody is throwing their price, price war happening. Like for example, in China is going through a very bad cycle of price war. Right? So the business basically in China right now, the mode of thinking is that if I can kill you and I survive, right, then only I increase back the price. So right now, every single thing in China is basically cutting price to kill each other. Right? They call 内卷, internal turmoil. It's basically what is happening. Now, so whether you lose money or not is a question of who do you pick to fight. Right? So this is big knife against small knife. Geng is big knife. Tin is small knife. Right? So if you big knife against small knife, then you need to know that at what environment do you have an advantage, right? So if you have seen enough kung fu movie before, this is a scene whereby somebody trying to fight a small knife in a alley with a long spear. Because with a long spear you cannot do a lot of things in a small alley. The small alley will be restricting your movement. So the fella with a small knife would be able to come and kill you. But if it's in an open big area, then the fella with a small knife won't be able to get near you. Then your big spear is able to do a lot of damage. So it's about picking what to do. So like for example, if you're using sickle to clear, then you have to go for very high class client. Low class client, it's like you go lawn mower, they are happy with it. Right? So don't go and look for cheap client. Too many people when they do business, right, they look for cheap client. Sorry to say, right? So they look for cheap client. Right? So rather than investing the time in looking for high quality client that actually appreciate the quality of work that you come up with. Right, so that is basically what for the month of what we call September. Right, so now if you want to find a customer that's willing to spend money, look for Geng. Direct wealth, raw wealth usually is a combination of spending money. Look for Geng. Right, so you are Geng DayMaster. Right, so it's easier for you to influence the fellow to spend money. I'm bad, right? So syn metal, right? So syn metal, right? So I've used this example a lot of time, right? So the syn metal together with the yeet wood, right? So if you know the process of creating a bonsai, bonsai is basically a big tree that has been midgeted. They restrict the growth of the tree, right? So it's actually a very cruel practice. It's a very cruel practice to the tree lah, but because the tree never scream pain lah. So that's why everybody don't know. Everybody see bonsai. Oh, it is so cute. Right. So typical process of making bonsai is that you use a lot of wiring to bend the tree. Wiring bend the tree, fix the tree to a certain. So that's why you can see that the tree curve in a very elegant manner, right? So it's basically this particular situation, right? So indirect wealth together with friend stuff, right? So indirect wealth together with friend stuff is basically taking in a project and breaking down the project into different parts. Everybody attack the project from different angles, right? So then the entire question is the idea of how to split the money lah, right? So whether there's enough money to split or not, right? So friend start a lot of time is about sharing the loads. It's about sharing the loads. But again, in business, a lot of people don't understand. It is not as easy as you think that you want to share the money out. You share the money out, because in business, if you're the business owner, you carry a lot of risk. The risk of not having income next month. So how are you going to buffer for area whereby you're not having income? Especially indirect wealth is a very unstable income source. Right? So today you have a project, you share it out with the rest of the people. But tomorrow when they don't have project, the rest of the people won't come over and rescue you. You understand? Right? The plant is being abused. In a way, the plant is being abused. But for us human, it's always like that, right? Because the plant is not complaining. And so we don't recognize that the plant is a sentient being. I think that's wording used, a sentient being, right? So it's this particular idea, right? So the main consideration for the syn metal is who is worthy to split the money, right? What do you actually need to split the money, right? So now this one you need to introspect, look at yourself, like what do you contribute to the project itself? What are the deliverable that you can do versus what are the deliverable that's lacking that you can pull people in, so which means that the money that you pay out to the other person need to be worth it lah, that's all. Right, so again, I just remember indirect wealth is a very unstable type of income, right? So if this month you have money, right? So this month you have the opportunity. Next month when you don't have the opportunity, would the same people that you have helped this month come back and help you on? Right? So that's the consideration, right? So the good part of it is that if you happen to accidentally supported one of these useless friends, then the fellow is useless. I just label the fellow. Then next time got any project, don't involve this particular person anymore. The fellow is not contributing. Right? Yeah. Right. So a lot of time, some people come in for the free ride. Right? They come in, they virtually do nothing, but they want to split the money. Right? So they don't have a business mindset. Right? So yeah. One of the big thing about business mindset versus a employee mindset. Employee mindset usually sit around and wait for people to assign you. That's basically employee mindset. They don't know how to expand their scope of work. They don't know how to take in additional responsibility, even when it's not required. But when you are a business owner, right, you automatically have this, because why? There is always people under you that is waiting for you to pay salary. So when there's people sitting there waiting for you to pay salary, you cannot afford to leave them idle. Yeah, you are obligated to pay them the salary. You cannot afford to leave them idle. So your brain is always working on, how can I get more jobs in for the people to do so that I don't lose out. Right? So unless you are very philanthropic and very generous, you just like to pay salary to people without them doing anything useful, then good for you. If it's not, right, business people and also an employee, that's the difference. Right? So if you really want to take a look at whether you are employee and business people, just look at your idle time. What are you doing with it? Are you thinking of way of expanding your income potential, or are you thinking of how to waste time and how to waste money? Right? So take a look at that. Right? So that's where to do so. Rainwater. So again, just tell you just now, this is rainwater. Right? This is basically rainwater. Right? So you got HO and also direct resource. Now, under normal circumstances, HO is not a very good energy sink. At least if you're studying parts. Right? If you're studying parts, HO is usually not a good thing. HO It's an energy that pulls in too much attention. Right? So, and a lot of time, the modus operandi of HO is talk first, support later. Right? So, a lot of time they throw a lot of empty promises. Right? So, no. But anyway, right? So, again, if you take a look, then bad talk about empty promises. Every single CEO is a HO. CEO or CEO come out and talk to shareholder is basically throwing empty promises out on. Yeah, you're talking about I will bring you, into the share price will go up to the moon. You have heard of that speech a lot of time before that's coming from the CEO. Right? So those are just empty promises, right? So but you guys love it. Right? So but when the HO is paired together with direct resource is the energy that control the HO. Right? So at initial phase, the HO talk without any facts and data. This HO talks with facts and data. Right, so the circumstance right now is that what happened is that I don't know whether you guys in places whereby they do farming, right, there usually is a place whereby there's a river. Yeah, no, or else you cannot do farming, right? They need to have a source of water coming in, right? So before piping was ever invented, the same price, right? So the farmland actually it function as a secondary utility, which is to stop flooding. So when the river water become too high, the river usually have a levee that you can open to allow the water to disperse out so that it doesn't break the bank and it will flood the farmland. And so you can imagine now the situation is you announcing that you're gonna flood the farmland. So if you're gonna flood the farmland, right, the local people is not gonna be supportive. Very normal lah. The food is important lah. But if you don't flood the farmland, you don't open up the levee, the bank will break. So which means that either eventual, whether you open the levee or you let the bank break, the farmland is going to be gone. Right? So, but if you open the levee, then it is a control situation. Whereas when you don't open the levee, then it is all hell broke loose situation. Right? So, which means that right now you can actually communicate with people with good, you want to call good intention, good data, good things. Right? It's basically quite okay lah. But there will still be a group of people who's not going to be in agreement with you. Right? So that is the situation, right? So it is a very good situation for you to talk a bit of situation whereby it is a bit more serious. The repercussion is a little bit more stronger, right? So if it's those are situations they want to talk to, it's a good time for you to do so. It's also a very good time to administer lesson. The I told you so scenario. So whichever, whatever it is, whatever circumstance that you have, if you have something to say and you know that you got enough data and information to back you up, say it out. Right? So say it out, but don't force the execution. That's the only part of it, because there's no execution component inside here. Don't force the execution itself. Let the thing flow, right? So let the thing flow mean that if this gonna go into a catastrophic situation after you say that because people don't listen to you, great. It's actually good. Why? The next round when this thing happen, it's not your fault, you already told them. The next round when this thing happen, then you can bring back this incident. Remember last time, when I informed you guys of this, what were the thing now? Then everybody shut up. If nothing happened, you are also safe, right? Either way, you win one, right? So, but then, there's gonna be a lot of damage to the farmland, and then, not your problem. Okay, you have already mentioned what basically happened. So this is a I told you so situation, right? So start telling people so. Right, so with the precast of you having enough data, enough information to know what happened, right? So don't go through the normal path of how hurting officer is just open mouth first, later on cover. Hurting officer have this, right? So that's why hurting officer actually make a good salesman. Does it mean salesman is often like no lah, salesman often operate under a situation whereby they try not to take up too much responsibility. That's what salesmen do, but you need them, by the way. All right, so then there's the Quill-Water. Now Quill-Water has a very negative formation, right? So this again is one of the formation when you study structure, right? So you will go through one of these formation, which is called Hiu San Tao Se, right? So the owl stealing the food, right? So because eating got associated with the word food, right? So tau six sun, right? So now and then you got the indirect resource, right? So it's a situation whereby you can call ecentrism, right? Ecentrism is you see, eating God is already a energy signature that's very difficult to understand. Right? Indirect resource is another energy signature that is also very difficult to understand. Right? So when two energy signature that's very difficult to understand come together, it's a situation whereby you completely do not understand what is happening. Right? So like just now, HO direct resource is a situation whereby you can clearly communicate the repercussion to people. This one is all intuition, all feeling, you cannot communicate to people, but often they may be right. And the scary part of it is that often they may be right. So this may be a situation, whereby I have a premonition. Somebody come down and tell me, a bird just flew by and tell me some information. You have this sort of situation, right? So it's really a wild card situation. Right? So now again, I forget about the entire scenario of an owl coming and stealing the food. Nothing to do with that. So that is just basically a terminology to put it in so that it look neat and sweet. That's it. Right. So the situation is a very confusing, unexplained situation, right? So our normal circumstance is that this person is very eccentric. Eccentric sort there. Right? So again, the example normally we use for this sort of situation is our Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is very eccentric one. Brilliant fella or not? Right, brilliant. Right. So but for everybody, anyone who have been working with this particular fella, the general description is he's a big asshole. Okay, right, so I probably would also agree lah, right? So because very simple, people with I just read it in the internet just now, is that when you reach a certain amount of intelligence, right, the normal way of testing for intelligence doesn't work anymore, because the people who created the test cannot see beyond that. You are already beyond this, right? So they cannot see the answer that is above the level that they have put in the test. So that's why these people cannot be testing people who are smarter. Eating God indirect resource actually represent a person who is very, very smart, probably very advanced in terms of the way that they're thinking. And the normal folk just cannot catch up. And when they cannot catch up, we label them as bad. And that's what human do. Anything that human does not recognize or does not understand, what do? We put them onto a stick and we burn the floor. A lot of time history is like that. Anytime we start to don't understand anything, right, we start to point finger out there, say that this one is not good or whatever it is. So and also not good for them is that they also don't know how to explain the situation. Right? That is the killer part of it. They can't explain it, but they just have something inside their mind that keep driving them toward that particular direction. They cannot explain it, and the people from outside cannot understand it. It doesn't mean that the situation is not true. I understand, right? It's just that with time haven't reached yet, right? So it's, again, example I always tell people is that when Apple introduced the iPhone, which has no button, everybody think that Apple was crazy. But if you take a look at back today, if your phone have one button, you are crazy. Can see or not? Because timing is not correct. So this one usually have a lot of timing issues. Probably too advanced, too crazy. It can be wrong, by the way, as well. Right, Jia Wood. Let's take a look at Jia Wood. Right? So Jia Wood got the Rock Wealth and also Direct Officer. Right? So now again, if you take a look at it, Rock Wealth happened to be a bad thing. Right? So in the study of BaZi, Rock Wealth is bad. Rock Wealth is bad. Direct Officer is good. And Direct Officer is the energy that counter the Rock Wealth. So this basically is somebody who's being disciplined. Right? So this is a rebel, someone who doesn't really listen too much, or someone who doesn't talk the line is being disciplined right now, which is good, right? Which is good, right? So it's a situation whereby you are being controlled, right? You are being controlled in the particular situation, right? So this is let's say that this is a situation, probably competition is too heated, then government come in and put in rules into the entire situation, which is what is happening in the Airbnb industry. right? So the competition between hotels and also Airbnb is getting a bit ugly, and the housing also, housing investment thingy also is getting a bit ugly, right? So you have an entire building right now is all Airbnb, right? So the value of the building is not going up, because it is Airbnb. People who are actually want to stay in the building is feeling very insecure because it's Airbnb. People keep coming up, and this Airbnb doesn't go through the same subject consideration as a hotel would have gone through, right? So which means that their costing is a bit more lower, right? So and then there's a lot of unfair thing coming in. So government step in, and put in rules and regulation. This is a D.O. Rockwell situation, right? So then you cannot, right? So Jia dislike meeting Yi, but Yi love meeting Jia. Yes, that's basically the situation, right? So it is the time whereby is trimming, cleaning, all this kind of stuff is happening, right? So it's a good time for you to look at your financial spending, your expenses spending. Is there stuff that you are currently spending on right now that is basically utter rubbish? Okay, right? So it's time to clean up all those bad habit, right? So bad habit, right? So it's do all those kind of things, right? So it's like somebody trimming the tree. So right now we are moving into the more rainier season. Yeah, I know summer is basically gone already, hot time. So we are going into the colder, the wetter season. So this is where the rainier seasons start to happen, right? So you will start to see that a lot of tree on the street is getting cut. Somebody, why do they cut the tree? Because if you don't cut the tree catch too much wind, the root is not strong enough. So you cut it right now so that it doesn't catch too much wind, right? So and when you every time now this one if you don't know, tree every time when you cut the branch, right, it will split. So if you want the tree to have more leaf, to have more branches, you need to always come and cut. Every time you cut one branches, they will split into two, right? So same thing with the tree, potted tree or whatever it is that's inside your house. If you want it to have more branches, which means that eventually we have more leaf, you need to cut the branch, the stem, whatever. Right? You do that, then it will grow more. It will grow more. It will grow more. It will grow better. So the more leaf it grows, the more nutrient it will be able to create. Then the deeper the root can go. It is actually a good thing to cut. Right? Is that the situation? Right? So for Jiawood, open up your expenses and take a look at all the spending you then which are the one that is basically completely useless one. Confirm got a lot. Okay. Right? It's autumn, right? It symbolizes metal chalkwood. Correct? Huh? Autumn symbolizes metal chalkwood. Yiwood. Let's take a look at Yiwood. Right? So Yiwood is like flower arrangement. Right? So when you do flower arrangement, that time you need to cut the flower into different lengths. So it's like maybe I know how to do flower arrangement because my mom long time ago, right? So when my mom was back home, right? So she liked to attend a lot of these enrichment classes, including all the cooking classes. You guys know lah, typical housewife auntie type thing, right? So I'm the small guy in the house. She cannot abandon me, so I get dragged into all these classes. Don't know how to appreciate all these classes last time, because in the end, go back, I become the slave. I hated all these classes last time. But anyway, right? So flower arrangement, you need to cut the flower into different lengths and arrange them together. Then it become a very nice thingy, right? So now it's friend with 7K. A friend with 7K mean that you need to trim your people around you. Yeah, you need to trim the people around. So again, you would like to make friends. So that is basically one of the superpower or the natural tendency of Yiwood is basically to connect to others. So Yiwood is very natural in terms of connecting with others. Right? So but when you connect with others, you're gonna connect with a lot of rubbish friends. This is the time for you to cut them off. Right? So now when we say cut them off, it's not a situation of unfriending a person. It's not that. Right? It's just basically reducing the amount of time you invest in this particular person. If the person doesn't bring in anything. Right? So like for me is a bit more on the finance side, right? So there are certain people who like to go for a certain activity, right? So but that particular activity doesn't really help with their career. It doesn't really help with their business. It doesn't really help with their income. And so, but they like to go to those style of activity because it makes them feel comfortable. This is the problem when you go too much into this activity. So you might want to, take a look at, the people that you go in, right? So if you cut by the you make roots. If you cut roots also you have to cut, especially if you're in a potted plant. You know that potted plant, when the root is too much, the fellow will die one. So a lot of time you need to pull the potted plant out and actually chop the root in half, put back soil and let it grow again. Potted plant need to do that. You cannot leave the potted plant on the pot. Don't know. Sometimes you put a potted plant out, the entire pot is just root. There's no more soil. When there's no more soil, mean that there's not going to be any nutrient. So the tree will basically die. Okay? That's the situation. Right. So take an audit on the people that's around you. Right. So now again, whether the fella is useful or not useful, it depends on your circumstance. It doesn't depend on the combination of the energy. Right. So the people that you are spending time with, is it bringing you forward to the direction that you need to go? Right. So like for example, if you have a bunch of cycling buddy, right? So like cycling buddy, you always go cycle with them. Right. So now tell me, is the cycling buddy right now bringing you to the next level? If let's say that I'm actually trying to join a cycle competition, then the cycling buddy is useful, right? So, but if let's say that you're not going to join a cycling thingy, and then the entire cycling hobby is basically siphoning money out of you, buying expensive equipment, going to places whereby you're not supposed to go, that you don't have money to go, but because your friend cheer you, right? Those people are financial free father, very rich type of people, whereas you are not. You need to go to work, right? But you like to join them. You buy the expensive bicycle lah. Always go for fly to certain places, to just go to cycle there, and they tell you that, because this type of place, the view is very nice, view your head. So when you don't have money, every view also not nice. But probably this sort of friend is where you want to cut off. So again, nothing wrong with them. It is just basically making adjustment, make sure that your life or the thing that you are doing is in a harmonious, balanced manner. Right, do that, right? So do an assessment on your thing, right? So for the Jiawu is do an assessment on your finance, because I'm on the finance side. It could be other thing, right? So there is Jiawu also, it could be a situation, whereby again you do an audit on the friends that you're with, whether they are useful or not, and you keep them under control. This one is basically completely cut off. You reject spending time with them, right? So you're 24 hours, don't give them too much. Right, Ping. Right, so Ping got a direct resource, direct wealth. Now, direct resource, direct wealth is one of the better combination in the BaZi study. Right? So now BaZi study always you see the direct officer, direct wealth, direct resource. They have natural bias towards good. So because these are the characteristic that in the olden day they want people to have, which is hardworking, studious, and also obedient. Right? They like hardworking, studious, obedient people. Right? So this one, if you take a look at the combination, is basically somebody who is teaching, I would say, the next generation of the people around you about financial literacy. Right? So yeah, right. So direct resource is a very strong teaching combination, and especially when the wood is together with fire, right? So Ping together with the yeet wood, wood with fire together. The terminology is called mục phó thông minh. Right? So mục phó thông minh is fire, wood, brilliant. So it's a very good time to educate people. So hopefully you spend some time educating the people around you. Now you can educate your staff, you can educate your team, you can educate the next generation, you can even educate upward, doesn't matter. Right? So now whether you educate work or you educate money, not the important point. The important point, direct wealth actually measure a person's effort. It's not money, please. Don't associate direct wealth with money. So money is it's an imaginary commodity. Again, cannot be, money is real. No, money is fake. Right? So you got to work this month like this, good right? So it's a situation, whereby you are empowering the next generation. You need to put in where you're empowering the next generation, which is good, right? It's a positive activity, right? So spend some time empowering the next generation, right? So because if you train the next generation or next in line well, the fella would be able to contribute more to the entire ecosystem, right? It's a good time, right? So take a look at the Ting Fire, right? So Ting Fire will have indirect resource, indirect wealth. Now, indirect resource, indirect wealth is a combination whereby the fella have very bad concentration, by the way, right? So again, indirect resource very curious. Indirect wealth is very opportunistic. So if you take a look at this, this is like somebody going for treasure hunt. Right? So you have seen before, I know a guy that basically take the metal detector, go to the seashore, and then go we. Or the more that I see a lot on the video right now is that they buy a very powerful magnet and then they throw it into river or lake and drag anything metal basically up. So you see, this sort of activity is go by chance, right? This sort of activity. So the opportunity basically go by chance. So this is a person who is very curious, go and test things out. Right. So yes, teaching children cooking contract next month. Cooking contract. What is a cooking contract? Need a contract one way. But anyway, back to this one. It's a very curious person to go and try out a lot of different things. Right. So it's like a person, classes. Okay, good cooking classes is great. Teaching children cooking classes is really very great. I just don't like the mess that they do. Right, but anyway, go back to this. It's a very curious fella who go and try out different things. Right. So now here's the thing, right? Time is limited. Right? Time is limited. If you want to really make good money, you need to have a good amount of concentration. Right? You make money on places where you put attention. That's basically what is happening. Right? So this is demand whereby. Right? So of course, if you happen want to explore things, right? So if that is your objective, is actually to explore things, which means that you probably have a main business or you have a main core job that you are, and this particular core job is giving you a good income, the main business giving good income, it's time for you to think of diversification strategy. Then this is useful. Right? So which means that if you're in a business, your basic company, you are looking for somebody to spearhead a diversification project, throw a thing fire in. Right, the throw a thing fire in, the fellow will be able to see a lot of different angle, different things, where different thing, curious enough, find out about all the weird hobby that you can do, the business can branch out into. It's a good thing. Right? So that is basically where this thing become positive enough. Right? So same thing also for yourself. If you're really in a phase of discovering new stuff to do, this is provided that your previous thing is already very secure. Everything is already secure already. You already have a good footing. Time for you to branch out to different things. Then this energy is very helpful in that particular situation. Right. So which means that fellow who have think fire, this one is going to be a bit more curious. Brain is going to be a bit more scattered. So highly chances is that you will abandon your main thing. So you can see you start to abandon your main thing. The main thing may go crash land and go and search for new stuff to play around with. Right. Okay, last one, Wolf. Right, last one, Wolf. So Wolf got a DOHO combination. A DOHO combination is a very bad combination. Right, very bad. Because again, DO is the good guy, HO is the bad guy, HO is the one that is now countering DO, right? So which means DO is not working fine. Right. So this is like somebody who is climbing a cliff, then the cliff crumble. Right, so you have your hook around, right? So this one you can go and take a look at people who is climbing ledges, right? So they always insert a safety hook inside the crevice. So what happens if the crevice break? Your safety hook come out lah. Then bye bye, it's those type of situation, right? So whereby things go out of control, right? Stuff going out of control. So you need to be very careful, right? So this sort of circumstance, a lot of time it will involve litigative things, right? Getting sued, offending the government, this sort of stuff, right? So on the light side, maybe some summons. You park at places whereby you are not supposed to park. You cross the light at a timing where you're not supposed to cross. You're just driving a little bit more faster than you should be driving. These are small offenses. Big offenses outright going against rules and regulation, which is bad, right? So if this is in business, please do not let a wolf make any big decision. If you are worth, this is not a month for you to make a lot of big decisions. Okay, right? So it's pretty much that month for you to make big decision. But if if your intention is really wanting to break free of the stuff, you really want to cause trouble, really want to stir the tank, then this is good. Right, so you have an event, or you have certain things that you need people to go and stir up the event, then this fella right, so you can label this fella as the troublemaker of the month. Right, so again, how to positively use this, don't know lah, but it is good for you to if you are looking to break free, right? Breaking free is good, right? So in this particular situation, right? So like for example, if you really want to destroy the mountain, right? Because you have a project that you need to do, you need to destroy the mountain, then this is a good energy, right? So this is people who disregard uh, the eco warrior, right? So those people who are into saving ecology, you don't disregard them, you just destroy the mountains. Do first, ask for apology later, kind of situation. This energy is very good, right? So this one is good for you to break status quo. Some status quo need to be broken, by the way. So like for example, right now, Indonesia is going through. Indonesia right now is a bit on the very chaotic side, due to military intervention into the political scene. Right? So the government also have made a few not very brilliant decision. Right? So the people right now is really unhappy, and they are turning against the government, which is a HODO situation. Right? So this is what Indonesia is going through, right? So you can go and check, whether Indonesia got wolf inside. Okay guys, right, so this is basically for your month of September, right? So now, depending on what you're doing, what you're trying to do, you can find friends with the correct energy signature, or you yourself is that, then you may want to drive your planning towards that particular direction. Okay, right, so that's it, right? So tomorrow morning we'll look at feng shui. So tomorrow morning we'll look at the feng shui side. Right, so the feng shui one also has already been published, and this particular month I've given you guys a date for you to do activation, which help with connecting with people. So for those of you who need to connect with people, so of course my dates usually is finance related. If you're looking for girlfriend, then probably that date may not be that helpful, but generally we need to look for noble people to assist you in your business, right? So then that is good. All right, that's it guys, see you all, bye.